Welcome back to Camp Tales, a new weekly podcast where we tell you tales about and from camp and give you a peek behind the curtain of what it's like living the camp life. In our first episode, we began to hear the tales of the founding of Bancroft Gospel Ministry from the perspective of our founder, Miss Anna Lewis. We left off with Miss Lewis faithfully serving at the mills in the lowlands outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. Join us in part 2 of Miss Lewis's tale as the Lord continues to lead her to the short hills of Tennessee to establish what we now know as Bancroft Gospel Ministry.
Now, don't think for a moment that there weren't hard times. There definitely were. I remember one especially well. It was a Saturday morning. I was sweeping the floor and at the same time going over my supplies in my head. I had enough food to get through Sunday and 11 cents in my purse. Honestly, I felt pretty content. Then it hit me. I owed a neighbor 10 cents. I had bought something from her earlier when she didn't have the change. I had already given her what I could, but that 10 cents was still unpaid. With only 11 cents left, I figured I'd take care of it later when I had more money. But then a thought kept pressing on me. Oh, no man anything. Oh, no man anything. It wouldn't leave me alone. Finally, I set the broom down, took the 10 cents, and went over to the house. She was sitting by the fire when I walked in. I laid the dime on the mantel and said, "Here's the 10 cents I owe you." Right away, she called out to her husband, who was on the back porch, "Tom, here's your 10 cents. He rushed in and asked, "Where did you get it?" "Miss Lewis gave it to me," she said. "Did you ask for it?" "No," I answered. "I'm just paying my debts." He took the money and hurried out. Then his wife explained that he had to leave town and desperately needed 10 cents, but they didn't have it. She told me he'd been saying, "I don't know what I'll do." And she had answered him, "Miss Lewis asked the Lord for what she needs. Why can't we do the same?" They were believers, and God honored their faith, and He honored mine too, because on Monday, I received a whole $1 just in time to buy food. For the next 2 years, the work continued, passing out tracts, visiting homes, holding little meetings. Through the Word in those tracts, people were coming to truly know Him. God was training His worker and keeping His promise. He is faithful. Then one day, I received a letter from a woman in Virginia. She invited me to stay with her for a few weeks and even sent money for the trip. Near the end of my visit, she took me on a long drive through the mountains to Luray Caverns. That trip stirred something in me. When I went back to my work in the cotton mill areas, my joy felt unsettled. I prayed and told God plainly, "Either take this desire for mountain work out of my heart or open the way for me to go." When I wrote to thank my friend, I told her exactly how much that mountain trip had affected me. I asked her to pray with me about it. At the very same time, she received a letter from the leader of a mountain mission in Virginia asking people to pray that God would send them a worker. My letter was passed along to him, and before long I received an invitation to visit, attend a workers' meeting, and stay through Sunday. I had asked God to open the door, and there it was. So I packed up everything. I crated my furniture, stored it with a neighbor, gave up my house, and left with just a small travel bag. At the meeting, I met the other missionaries and heard their stories. Some worked in coal camps where the company provided housing, coal, and $5 a month. I also heard about a small Sunday school deep in the mountains. That place grabbed my heart. Alone in my room, I prayed, "Lord, if you can use me there, I'll go." Without a house, without coal, and without the $5, I'll trust you. I was accepted by the mission board. There was no need to go back to North Carolina. Just one letter sent my belongings on their way. I was offered 2 rooms with a family, and I gladly took them. They wouldn't accept rent and wouldn't let me pay for coal. At the same time, a friend began sending me $5 each month with a note saying, "You may look for this little token from the Lord about this time each month." Well, I had told the Lord that I'd go without house, coal, or money, and within a month, God had provided all three. Later, during the hot summer days, I needed a screen door and an oven for my little stove. I didn't have the money, but I prayed about it. The cost was $4. Far away in Atlantic City, a woman felt prompted to slip a few bills into her pocket before visiting one of my relatives. During that visit, the conversation turned to the mountain work. As she left, she said, "I'm sorry I left my purse behind, but please send this to your cousin." It was exactly $4. It paid for what I needed. And that's how it went, year after year. God kept leading, providing, and supplying. If he were to ask me, "Did you ever lack anything?" I'd have to say, "Nothing, Lord." That doesn't mean there weren't trials. Believe me, there were many, but they were precious. They drew me closer to him and taught me that no need is too small to bring to God. Later on, I was invited to attend a Bible conference in Philadelphia, something I never could have imagined on my own. It refreshed me in ways I hadn't even realized I needed. Eventually, I went out again looking for new fields of work. I found one near Honaker, Virginia, and started a Sunday school. As others joined, workers who, like me, were living by faith, we felt the need for a name. And that's how Faith Mountain Mission came to be. So, after we'd been there a few months, the man who owned the house came and said he needed it back. His family was moving in. There was no chance of finding another place, so we knew right away what that meant. It was time to move again and see where the Lord was leading next. People sometimes ask me, "How do you even end up in these places?" Honestly, it happens in different ways. Sometimes people ask for help directly. Other times, someone just mentions a need somewhere else. And that's what happened this time. I was told about a place in the mountains of Georgia, and getting there meant an all-day train ride. On the way, I had to change trains in a tiny town. After waiting around for a couple of hours, I went into the little cafe next to the station to get something to eat. While I was sitting there, a train pulled in, so I asked if it was the one heading towards my destination, and they said it was. Just then, this big, strong, friendly-looking young man walked in. The waitress pointed at him and said, "He lives up there." I said, "Well, I'd sure like to talk to him." So I told him where I was trying to go and asked how I could get there. He shook his head and said, "You won't make it today. The wagon that carries the mail has already gone up the mountain." Then he said, "Tell you what, come home with me. My folks will take good care of you, and it won't cost you a thing. Tomorrow, you can head up the mountain." Well, I didn't need to think twice. I gladly went with him. While I was there, I found out they already had a Sunday school started up on that mountain, but they also told me about another place that really needed help. The next day, they hitched up the mules and drove me a few miles over the state line into Tennessee. And that's where I found a lumber camp full of people who hadn't had a Sunday school in 4 years. The company manager was willing to give us a house. There was an unused church building, and the people were more than happy to have the work started. We had our furniture shipped all the way from Honaker, over 3 different railroads, which meant delays. Lots of delays. In the meantime, the 3 of us got by with 1 couch, 1 bed, an oil stove, and a handful of dishes and a bunch of soap boxes. The freight agent told us it would probably take weeks for our things to arrive. We prayed about it and asked the Lord not to let our furniture sit around at the rail junctions. Then, early on the morning of the 10th day, we walked down the road, and there it was. They were unloading our furniture from the same rail car it left in. Another time, when we were shipping things to different stations, the agent told me I had 48 hours to pay the freight bill. The bill was $112. Well, we only had $17. So we prayed and we waited. Half an hour before the office closed, I was on my way to the station when I got a letter from a missionary who was on vacation. Inside were 3 checks. We paid the bill 15 minutes before closing and had 4 cents left. God might test you right down to the last minute, but He never fails. Since then, the work has grown. We now have 3 stations and 7 workers, and God keeps taking care of us. As the need grows, He keeps meeting them. He just asks us to trust in Him. There was one time we needed $500 badly. There was really only one thing to do: ask God. I remember thinking, that's a lot of money. How in the world is that going to come? Then a letter showed up from a woman who said, "You've been on my heart lately, and I feel like you might have a special need. If you do, will you tell me how much?" I wrote back and said, "Yes, there is a need we've been praying about. If God's put it on your heart, He'll show you what He wants you to give." And not long after that, another letter came with a check for, you guessed it, $500. Later, when we realized we needed a permanent place for the mission, we went looking for land near Kingsport, Tennessee. We found the perfect spot, but it had just been sold. Another piece of land looked just as good, but someone said, "Oh, you can't get that land. The owner won't sell a foot of it to anyone." Well, we kept praying anyway. The next time I went back, I was told that same owner had changed his mind. He said that if the land was for a Sunday school, he'd give what was needed. And that's exactly what happened. The money came, the buildings went up, and today they stand as a reminder of God's faithfulness and in memory of loved ones now with the Lord. Looking back, I can see that God even used the times we were forced to move. When we left Honaker, it felt final. But in His time, we were able to go back. Now the land, the chapel, and the house here in Kingsport, Tennessee, all belong to Him, and there's no need to move again. Those buildings are worth thousands of dollars, but to God, that wasn't any harder than providing $4 or $15 when we needed it. God has trusted us with this work. Our prayer is that we will be faithful, that people will come to know Him, and that His name will be honored. I'm sharing all of this for one reason: to encourage anyone who's trying to trust God and finding it hard sometimes. Well, He does test us, but only to show us again and again how faithful and loving He really is.
And that is the incredible tale of Miss Anna Lewis and the founding of Bancroft Gospel Ministry. It's a tale of faith in God. You see, Miss Lewis didn't always know how her needs would be met, but she trusted in the Lord, believing His promises that He would, in fact, meet her needs. This is a tale that we all need to hear, because we all struggle believing that God will always meet our needs, even though He promises to do so. This isn't the end of the tales from Bancroft Gospel Ministry. Trust me, there are plenty more camp tales to tell. So thanks for listening. Welcome back to Camp Tales, a new weekly podcast where we tell you tales about and from camp and give you a peek behind the curtain of what it's like living the camp life. In our first episode, we began to hear the tales of the founding of Bancroft Gospel Ministry from the perspective of our founder, Miss Anna Lewis. We left off with Miss Lewis faithfully serving at the mills in the lowlands outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. Join us in part 2 of Miss Lewis's tale as the Lord continues to lead her to the short hills of Tennessee to establish what we now know as Bancroft Gospel Ministry. And that is the incredible tale of Miss Anna Lewis and the founding of Bancroft Gospel Ministry. It's a tale of faith in God. You see, Miss Lewis didn't always know how her needs would be met, but she trusted in the Lord, believing His promises that He would, in fact, meet her needs. This is a tale that we all need to hear, because we all struggle believing that God will always meet our needs, even though He promises to do so. This isn't the end of the tales from Bancroft Gospel Ministry. Trust me, there are plenty more camp tales to tell. So thanks for listening.